Hello student, welcome to the unit number 1, that is the DC circuit. In last video we have seen the different electrical quantities, and we have seen the electrical energy and electrical power. Even we have seen how to calculate the electrical bill if we know the different appliances, electrical appliances in your home or in any we can say that area. Now today we are going to learn what are the different type of these energy sources. Okay, in the electrical circuit we know that we have to provide the electrical energy or electrical power. Then how to provide, for that purpose we have to use the different type of sources. Basically there are two type of sources. One is the current source and other is the voltage source. Okay, source means the providers. Whenever we use the sources in the electrical network, that type of network is called as a active network. If sources are not there, then that will be called as a passive network. Okay, don't forget. Now uh, then question arises, if there are two type of sources, voltage sources and current sources, then what is the difference between these two? Then again, voltage sources can be AC voltage source or can be the DC voltage source. Similarly, current source can be the AC current source or can be the DC current source. But now as our unit is related with the DC circuit, here we will focus on the DC voltage source as well as the DC voltage source as well as the DC current source. Now, first of all, we will see what is the voltage source. The term voltage source is used to describe a source of energy which establishes a potential difference across its terminal. Most of the sources encountered in everyday life are voltage sources. Example batteries, DC generators, alternators, etc. The term current source is used to describe a source of energy that provides a current. Example, a collector current of a transistor, voltage and current sources are called active element because they provide the electrical energy to a circuit. Okay, now in short, voltage sources are able to provide the voltages, which is nothing but the potential difference across two terminal, and current sources are able to provide the current through the circuit. Keep in mind that. But unlike a voltage source, which we can represent as the two oppositely charged electrode, one is the positive electrode and negative electrode. But here we cannot representation, but we know that the particular current source is able to drive a current through the circuit. That's why that is known as a current source. Then there are two type of voltage source. One is the ideal voltage source, that is also called as a constant voltage source, and another one is a non-ideal or real voltage source. Now what is the difference, that we will see, and why to use the term, that is also known, that must be known to us. Ideal voltage source, it is also called as a constant voltage source, is one that maintains a constant voltage, terminal voltage, no matter how much current is drawn from it. Even if there is change in the current, but voltages across its terminal, they will be constant. That type of voltage source is called as the ideal voltage source. An ideal voltage source has a zero internal resistance. Therefore, it would provide a constant terminal voltage regardless of the value of load connected across its terminal. Practically or in reality, ideal voltage sources are not existent. But why to study the ideal voltage source is, the reason is that while doing the analysis it will be easier as well as the convenient for us to consider the voltage source as the ideal voltage source, but practically there will be always finite internal resistance for the voltage sources. But if we imagine that internal resistance is equal to 0, then that will be become the ideal voltage source. Okay, but this is an imaginary, only for analysis purpose we are using this term ideal voltage source, but practically keep in mind that there is always some finite resistance is available. Okay, but if the resistance is very small, then we can neglect and that will be close to the ideal voltage source. Now here we can see the three examples. For example, 12 volt is supplied to a circuit having only one resistance of 1 mega ohm. Here you can see that here is the 1 mega ohm. 1 mega ohm is there. Here you can see 1 mega ohm. Then because of that, the current which is flowing, you know that current is equal to, as per the Ohm's law, current is equal to voltage divided by resistance. Then 12 volt divided by 1 mega ohm, it comes out to be 12 microampere. Okay. Now the voltage across these two point should be 12 volt. Okay, though we are supplying 12 volt here, if we are getting the voltage 12 volt, then in the second case, if we have changed the resistance, output resistance from 1 mega ohm to 1 kilo ohm, still you should get here the 12 volt voltage, 12 volt across these two terminals. Now from 1 kilo ohm, if we change the resistance to 1 ohm, then current will be 12 ampere. Means current is changing from 12 microampere to 12 milliampere, from 12 milliampere to 12 ampere. Still the voltages across these two terminal should be same. Okay, if they are same, then that type of voltage source is called as the ideal voltage source. But let me clear that ideal voltage sources are non-existent, and this concept we have to use only for the analysis purpose. Analysis means to find out the voltages, current, okay, or various parameter of a circuit. For that purpose, we can go for this concept. Okay. Here we have written that it is not possible to construct an ideal voltage source because every voltage source has some internal resistance. Don't forget. But if resistance is very very small, then you can neglect it and your voltage source will become ideal voltage source. Okay. But this can be possible if the internal resistance is very small. Otherwise, you cannot go for this assumption also. Okay. Now, next we will see the real voltage source. Now, in reality, how the voltage source behave, and that we must consider while uh, while thinking about output. What should be the output? No doubt, for analysis, you go for the you go for the ideal voltage source. But practically, what will be the output that you can understand once you become aware how the real or non-ideal voltage source behave. A real or non-ideal voltage source has a low but finite internal resistance. Okay, RINT, that is the internal resistance that causes its terminal voltage to decrease when load current is increased, and vice versa. A real voltage source can be represented as an ideal voltage source in series with a resistance equal to its internal resistance RINT as shown in figure. Here you can see that this is your voltage source, ideal voltage source, and along with that, if we consider this internal resistance, then ideal voltage source plus this internal resistance offered by this your voltage source make the entire voltage source as a real or non-ideal voltage source. Okay, in the current flowing because of this battery, and internal resistance is known as the IL, and VO is the output voltage available across load resistance. Okay, when the load resistance RL is connected across the terminal of a real voltage source, a load current IL flows through the circuit so that the output voltage VO is given by. Now, last time we have seen that VO, the output voltage, is always equal to only the E, that is the voltage applied by the battery voltage source. But now here output voltage depends on the applied voltage source as well as the current flowing through the circuit multiplied by R internal. Okay, now here you can see that your output voltage will not be constant irrespective of changes in the load resistance. As load resistance, that is going to change. Here E is the voltage of ideal voltage source and its potential difference between the terminal of the sources when no current IL is equal to 0 is shown. Okay, the value is going to change, and that is the thing you must consider. Means your output voltage is going to change by change because of change in the load resistances in the non-ideal or real voltage source. Similarly, now we will go for the ideal current source. An ideal current source or constant current source is one which will supply the same current to any resistance load connected across its terminal. Now if this is here you can see that if 10 ohm is the load resistance, then same current will be supplied. Okay, that is if 2 ampere is current, so initially now we can say that transmitted or sent, through this 10 ohm, then even if we change this 10 ohm from 10 ohm to 100 ohm, still the current supplied by this source will be same, that is 2 ampere. It supplies the same current to any resistance connected across its terminal as shown in figure. And this is the symbol. We have seen the last time the symbol of voltage source. Voltage source is shown like this: one big horizontal line and small line. Horizontal line is shown as the positive terminal of the battery and negative terminal by small line. Okay. Since an ideal current source supplies the same current regardless of the value of resistance across its terminal, it is clear that the terminal voltage V of the current source will depend on the value of load resistance. For example, if 2 ampere, now here voltages are going to change. Current will be constant. A current source has 10 ohm across its terminal. The terminal voltage of the source is 2 ampere multiplied by 10 ohm, that is 20 volt. Okay. But now if your output resistance changes, then voltages across terminal will be 200 volt. Hence it will change from 20 volt to the 200 volt. But this change in the voltage is for what purpose? For keeping your current constant to that is 2 ampere in this case. Okay. I think you might have understand the difference between the constant current as well as the constant voltage source. Okay. Now here also this is the ideal concept, but practically there are some certain changes, and that you can understand once you see the non-ideal current source. Okay. That is also called as a real current source. In real current source, a real current or non-ideal current source has high but finite internal resistance. Okay. Here you can see that what we have seen for the ideal current source, the internal resistance is infinite. But here internal resistance is, though that is high, but that is finite value. Okay. Now here you can see that last time we have not shown anything. You maybe get surprised that there is no current, uh, no resistance between these two terminal. Okay. That's why we have seen that we have means we have claimed that the resistance between these 2 points is infinite. If nothing is there, then resistance is infinite. Okay. But here we have represented the internal resistance, finite internal resistance. Okay. Then uh, therefore, the load current IL will change as the value of load resistance RL changes. If RL changes, then because of this internal resistance, what happen? The some current will go through this path also, and depending upon change in load resistance, IL is going to your change. Then IL is equal to I, that is the constant current supplied by the ideal current source, minus V divided by R internal. Okay, where V is the voltage across this terminal and R internal is the internal resistance offered by the this real or non-ideal current source. A real current source can be represented by an ideal current source in parallel with its internal resistance as shown in figure. When load resistance RL is connected across the terminal of the real current source, the load current IL is equal to the current I. Okay, this I from the ideal current source minus that part of the current that passes through the parallel internal resistance, and this is mathematically shown here. Okay. Now here V is equal to potential difference between the output terminals. Now this is the difference between the voltage source, current source, as well as the ideal as well as the non-ideal voltage source, ideal current as well as the non-ideal current sources. I think all of you understand the difference between these type of sources. Now in the next part we will see what is the dependent and independent sources. Okay, for both, that is the independent and dependent voltage as well as the current sources, that we will see in the second part of the videos based on the sources, types of sources. Thank you, and we will come back soon.